Welcome to Powerless to Powerful, where we illuminate the journeys of those who have traversed the depths of despair to reach the peaks of empowerment. Today, we bring you the remarkable story of Tessa Williams, a woman whose life narrative embodies the very essence of transformation. Tessa is a woman who has experienced a great deal of personal struggle and growth in her life. Brought up in a religious upbringing, she faced challenges with people that led her to follow a different path. Tessa spent over 15 years working as a sex worker, primarily in the BDSM industry. BDSM is bondage, discipline or domination, sadism, and masochism, which is a type of sexual practice. During this time, she became well known and won multiple awards for her work. However, things took a turn for the worse when she reached her darkest moment during the pandemic lockdown. Despite the difficulties she had faced, Tessa found Jesus Christ and experienced a transformation in her life. She says that God has given her a life she never even thought she deserved, and she is now using her experience to help others who are struggling. Tessa's story is an inspiring testament to the power of faith. Join us as we delve into the depths of despair and rise to the heights of redemption through the eyes of a woman who has lived to tell the tale. Tessa Williams, thank you so much for being here with us. Aussie
Thanks
sister,
for having me.
Aussie sister to Aussie sister, another Aussie in the house.
Yeah.
Woo! So cool to have you here.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for inviting me.
Thank you for saying yes. We were doing a brothel outreach in Sydney, and so that's how you and I met.
Yes.
That's a really powerful organisation who's been running for about 20 years, reaching out to the women and men, I think, in the sex industry, just being a support, being love to them without judgment, just letting them know that somebody is there for them. Somebody does care about them. They are seen and they are loved and valued. And I don't know about you, when you were working in the industry, I never had anyone come in and, show anything, any type of care or love for me. I don't know if you experienced that.
Hardly any friendships in that industry. And I was in such a dark place that if anyone did come in, like our outreach team, I would have walked away. Yeah. Now, I know to target those girls that walk away because I was that person. That's the one that I'm going after, the one that's walking out going, no, I don't want a part of this. That's the one I'm going to go after and talk to and say, is everything okay?
Wow. See, I love how you take your learnings from that and you go after them. So are you still involved in that outreach?
Yes, very much. Yeah. That's part of my healing journey as well, and my way of helping, because God is turning everything that I've done into a positive. Because back when I just left that lifestyle, and I thought, God, how are you going to turn this around? This is a disaster. My background, how are you going? He's turned every little thing around. Even when I got outed in the media, it's turned around for his glory.
Of course. Like, he's going to use all things for good for those who love him, right? Can you tell us about that? Who outed you in the media? What happened? Tell us the story.
It was a few years had passed, and I thought, okay, people would have forgotten me. I can go start openly living my life. And I posted a photo of me in the Sunday school.
Because you're a Sunday school teacher now, right?
Sorry?
Because you're a Sunday school teacher now,
right?
Yeah.
And I get this phone call to say, are you a Sunday school teacher? It was from an old friend. It's like, yeah, why? She said, yeah, you know that your photo is being passed around the Daily Mail office, right? And yeah, these boys are going to write a story about you. You can cooperate whether you like it or not, but they're still going to write something. So I can take over the article for you and I'll make it good and sensitive and just in your best interest. But yeah, it's a kind of a big deal. And she asked me, the parents know, right? I'm like, yeah, of course, everyone in my church knows. And she goes, okay. She wrote it. It was a great article. The pastors kind of they reposted it. I thought, okay, that's good. It wasn't out there. It wasn't big. It wasn't massive. And so later, another journalist contacted me a few months later and just said, I want to ask you a few questions, just answer, and I can send you back the article. And I thought this was my time to talk about the dark side of the industry and all of that. And I answered a few questions. Yes, I'm celibate. I'm waiting for the right man. Yes, I owned a nun outfit in my life, because what dominatrix didn't? Come on, we all did it.
Right.
And then when this article came out, I was serving in the kids ministry at the time, and my phone was going off, and I thought, what was happening? And then I was sending screenshots of this article that had gone viral worldwide. It made the front page of another. It was everywhere. And it was just this woman who used to spank men with Bibles is now teaching kids in a Sunday school. I went, when did I spank men with Bibles?
Oh, wow.
Like, I did have a Bible, but man, I had weapons for that stuff. I had some good whips. Bible have no impact whatsoever. And yeah, then I had to go. I was having a panic attack, so I went to the toilets to go breathe, because I still got a room full of kids there. So I had to breathe. Okay, fine. Go back in the room, act like everything was okay, and talk. And then I afterwards, I went straight up to the pastor and I showed her, this is what's happening. It's in the New York, forgot what it was called again, the New York newspaper. It's around the world. It's been translated to different languages. Everyone sees me dressed in a nun outfit. That you can find lots of photos of me online. It's as easy as that. And then she said, no, that's great. Oh, that's good. Yeah, that's fine. Like,
oh, God bless her heart.
It's the article was not bad. It was really good. It was well written. Like, yeah, but a part of me dressing up as a nun to beat men with Bibles, come on, that was like 1% compared to all the other costumes I had. I mostly wore leather.
Yeah, like, really, that's the one you picked?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, really, that's the one you chose?
Yeah. And I'm not Catholic, so yeah. So she said, no, see the good in it. The article's not bad. The heading is a bit questionable, and then it gets translated into another language that I'm becoming a nun. And that I'm thinking, oh, come on. And then that's when my mum saw the funny side. My mum was laughing her head off. And then some of the ladies in outreach were laughing about it, saying, I got to see the funny side of it.
It's really good.
Yeah, it took a while, like a week, to get over it. And then I posted it online. I said, okay, these are the articles. And I made fun of some of them. But no, I had girls reaching out after that. Girl and a couple of guys reaching out.
Praise God, because there is vulnerability in your story like that being splashed around the world.
Yeah.
There is, like, come on, that would have been a bit, because you're fully exposed.
Yeah. And Mum said to me, what's the worst that can happen? Your story's out there. It's out there. You still have a roof over your head. You still got two heads and 2 heads. You still got 2 arms, 2 legs. And are there people outside with pitchforks waiting to get you? No. You're still living your life. Your church still has your back. Everything, the worst has happened. Now work with it, which is what I've been doing. And Mum's been a great support throughout all this. And yeah, Mum said it would have happened. Like, deep down in my head, I thought everyone's forgotten me. So many girls are coming into the industry now. But it turns out it's a bigger deal than I thought. But thank goodness we live in Australia, where it's illegal to use anyone's past against them with their work.
Oh, it is? I didn't realize that.
Yeah, they passed a law 2 years ago that you cannot fire anyone. You cannot, which has not happened. No one's really brought it up at work, besides a couple of, like, yeah, one woman saying, yeah, good one to me. And then a couple of old men with their sons going, oh, do you want him? He needs a good beating.
Wow. Wow.
But other than that, no one's really, used it against me.
And prostitution is legal in Australia, because a lot of countries it's illegal, but here it's legal. And so we are quite well looked after. Like, it's not, I don't know about, what you see on the American in televisions with pimps beating the women and taking all of their money. And, you know, my experience was nothing like that. I worked in a 5-star establishment. It was beautiful, but we were really well looked after, security, all of the things. There was no issues. And if there was an issue, the gentleman was just booted straight out, banned for life, never back in. I assume
we are kind of to a point looked after, but the one thing that I always want to get the story out about is, and bring awareness to, is that it's not as safe as what people think behind the scenes. There's like up to 60% commission taken from the girls. Some girls are forced to see clients that they don't want to see. There's been a couple of instances where girls have been crying, going, no, that guy hurt me last time, or no, that guy's a friend of my dad's, I don't want to see him, and they're still being told to see him.
Oh, wow. I didn't aware of
just
that.
a lot of things that girls are telling me on outreach and that I've seen firsthand when I was working in the industry, that a lot of girls are mistreated behind the scenes. And
wow,
it's something that I'm thinking, okay, Australia, you've made this legal. Now let's make it as safe as every other industry. These commissions, first of all, are ridiculous. Like the girls are, you're trying to come for every little bit of this girl's money. You're taking up to 40 to 60% off. Then you're fining them for being late, fining them for being late to the intro. Like you're just taking every single bit of money from these women. And if they don't earn a certain amount, you're kicking them out.
wow.
And these girls are not truly safe. Like a lot of girls can say, well, I was lucky I was never sexually assaulted on the job, but a lot of girls were.
Wow.
And you're kind of told to just stand up, dust yourself off and walk on. And girls were being hurt. Basically, cops were rarely called. And I worked in a 5-star establishment. I worked at one of the best establishments. And I'm thinking, if this is how it was here, imagine how girls that are in the lesser ones are treated.
Yeah.
Okay, I think it's what I really wanted to talk about when I spoke to that journalist, but that all got cut out because that isn't a sensitive topic in Australia to talk about the dangers that are happening behind the scenes.
Well, let's go there. Talk about that here.
Yeah. So girls are not as looked after as they want you to believe. Like, of course, some are. There's a small percentage that some are, but others, it's like, they have a little, like if you're sore from working, you've got to understand, you get sore, you're a human being. Some of them are told to go rub some numbing cream on there. When they start bleeding, they're getting told to sponge it and keep going, honey. You finish at this certain time, you've got to do your whole shift. There's a room full of men out there. So they're told to soldier on, just put a sponge inside themselves and keep going. Like there's a lot that are adopting, because women nowadays, especially with a financial crisis, they're running to this industry. And of course, these people that run the places are not stupid. They know the desperation and they can push it as far as they can.
Yeah.
And I have worked in like stripping establishments where it was a hierarchy and girls that were not earning as much, didn't have as much say, were absolutely treated like crap. Like when I worked in BDSM and later I worked in a top brothel because my establishment closed down. Because the money I was pulling in at the time, I got to say when I finished work, I got to say, when I was coming in, I got a certain room. And then I also got away with a lot of stuff because it was all about the money. It was about the dollars. And I realized from seeing that girls that broke one rule, like not having your dress ironed, were fired. One girl that was beaten up by another girl, the club protected her.
Wow.
Yeah, you just got to be the money maker at the time, and they're going to overlook everything. And I'm thinking, name another job where they do this. So we've got to start looking into the occupational health and safety in this kind of industry and the testing. STD testing, once every 3 months or something? Come on, you can catch a whole lot. And I've known girls that have caught stuff.
Yeah.
Done a bit extra, done natural, and then caught a whole bunch of stuff and just waited until the next test when it was all clear.
Wow. Yeah. Thank you for shedding light on that. I think it's really important to know the truths of things. Wow. So how how did you get into this industry? Like, what made you take that initial step? And then how did you get out? Because there's a huge financial shift when you leave this industry. And how did you find Jesus?
How I first got into the industry is thinking that sex work was power, from coming from a religious background where everything that I did was, I now realize it wasn't Jesus, it was the people in the church that were like, everything that I did was wrong and evil and stuff like that. And it was kind of like, okay, I give up here. There's no pleasing you people at all. Goodbye. And then being compared to another child in there saying, oh, look how great she is. And look at her beautiful long blonde hair. You see, God has blessed her because she's a good child. And it just got to that point where I was like, enough is enough, okay? I'm not good enough for your church. I'm out of here. I'm going to go hang with the sinners.
So how old were you then when you made that decision?
I was in my teens.
Yeah, wow.
I just came back from a church camp, and my goodness, I was being told by 10-year-olds to go back to my dorm, and I would complain about it, going, excuse me, I'm like 15 years old. Why am I being told by a little kid? And they said, he stands with the Lord stronger than you. So, yeah, you should listen to him. And I thought, well, bugger that. Bye. I'm done. Thank you. So I just left that church. Everything was not good enough. I'm going to go somewhere where I'll be good enough. So I kind of dated some guys that were just not good at all. They were abusive. One was particularly violent, and the blame was always on me for turning them on too much. And being a tease. I had not lost my virginity by then. So I just put the blame on myself. I just thought, okay, I need I need something where I just feel in charge. Like, I've always looked at those Baywatch girls and everything, and I thought they were absolutely stunning. And I thought, wow, if only I could be like that. And then my one abusive boyfriend took me to a strip club, and it was my first strip club. I was expecting to see junkies on stage, and I was like, no, it's not for me. And then I saw absolutely beautiful Baywatch girls on stage. I didn't think these women existed in real life. And they were on stage dancing, and my jaw was on the ground. I pulled up a seat right next to the stage, and I was tipping. I was like, wow. And then I kept telling him, this is like power, isn't it? And then he thought I was going to be jealous, and I thought he took me there to be insecure. But I was jaw on the ground. And then he said, okay, I'm going to go for a lap dance with one of them. And I was like, what? And the girl went, take your girlfriend as well. That is so rude. And then as she was dancing for him, he was making comments like, look at that body. Oh, yeah, I bet you wish you had a body like that. And the girl was redirecting the comments back to me going, but look at your girlfriend. She's stunning. Oh, yeah. And then he went to go untwist her G-string, which had twisted around, and she slapped him square in the face that he was cross-eyed. And then she said, don't you ever touch me. No, don't touch me. I've never seen him look that shocked in his life. He was like, and then she said to me, how can you be with this pig? Seriously, have some respect. You're so much better than him. And if you ever want a job, it's a job available for you here. You can get on your feet here. And that was playing in the back of my mind. You really think I'm good enough to work here? Wow. Like, I'm really as pretty as you girls. And then on the way home, I said to him, she said that I could work there. And he goes, yeah, because you look like a slut, blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking, okay, though, that was just ringing. Something shifted in my brain that day when I went there. And I thought, no, I don't need you anymore, mate. And that's when I broken up, needed 2 restraining orders to get away from him. And then I moved to a different state. And that's when I went to my first strip club. And on my first day there, I psyched myself up. Must have been the most conservative stripper in my one piece and then wrap around. And then on the first day, I begged every single guy not to take me. I was chickening out. Wow. I'd go up and introduce myself, and then I go, I'm sorry, I don't want to go in for a show. Don't make me do it. And the owner said, listen, come here. I'd love you to work here, but come back when you can actually strip because we need you to work. So I came back the next day, and one girl helped me, and she said, okay, come on stage with me. Don't look at the crowd, look at me, focus on me, and we'll dance. And then I thought, okay, this is easy. Worst thing that can happen, I get bored on stage. And that's what started me off stripping. And after a while, stripping, as you know, over time in stripping, the money goes down. The industry changed, and a lot of girls were not making money. And the girls that were making money were doing full service. That's when BDSM came in. And that was like, yeah, I was very, very good at that. When I was given the chance to do it, I was very good at it. And it kind of spiraled from there, having to prove myself to these bunch of women that were hardened professionals and been in the industry for years, because a lot of those women in BDSM were a lot older. All the popular ones were the older women. And so I had to kind of prove myself to them and prove to my clients that I could do the job and not be another poser that they let in.
So how old were you at this point?
Oh, I was about my 30s.
Yeah, right.
I started stripping I started in the industry quite late. So, I was already in my 20s by then. Yeah. So, the 30s, it was going into BDSM, and this was a whole different world from stripping. It was, people were nicer, believe it or not. Wow. If anyone had an ego, he certainly wouldn't have it when I had him tied up. If he wants to be rude, he's not going to be rude for much longer. I'm going to have him in tears. Yeah. So I felt that was a new kind of power over men. And these were wealthy, successful, sometimes famous men that would come in and see me and ask for the most degrading services. And I was the one that was holding the weapons. I was the one that was hurting them and making them cry. And yeah.
And so, and how did this affect you emotionally, mentally? Because you're a beautiful person. You're a beautiful woman from the inside out. How did it affect you? Because, I mean, I can only imagine you've seen and done some stuff that in your 20s you probably thought you would never do.
Yeah, it was kind of eye-opening when I got to do BDSM. My first job that absolutely made me cry was this boy came in. I say boy, he was in his 20s, and he was a bit mentally challenged. And he said that he is used to people calling him the R word and all of this and hitting him. And he was there walking. He needed help walking. And he said the only way he can deal with this is by being whipped and being hurt and being called these names. Wow. So when I had to do that, afterwards I was crying in the locker. Like, I helped him get dressed afterwards. I felt so bad afterwards. I needed to make sure that he was okay. And he's like, no, I'm fine. And then he said to me, am I really those things? And I said, of course not. And I said, stop even listening to it. Like, you're a good looking young man. And yeah, you should just be turning your head the other way going, yeah, whatever. So I was crying in the locker room that day. And then one of the older dominatrixes said to me, what are you doing? Why are you crying? And I said, listen, I had to beat this guy, and he was flopping all over the floor, and he's mentally challenged. He had a few problems. And she goes, listen, don't bring it home. Leave it with Tessa doll. Don't bring it to Tessa. Don't bring it outside of that room. Just leave it at work and just, don't take on their problems. And that was how I was told to deal with it.
Wow. That you take on.
Yeah, after a while, like, I knew to read a situation and to pull back. Like, later on, if anyone came to me with that, I would have said no, because I had also a man come in and see me. And this man, he looked like a rugby player. He was big and just, macho, and he could knock me down easily. So I asked him, listen, why do you want this? First of all, he wanted some horrific essay type of situation done on him. And then he told me that he was sexually assaulted. And like, I don't mean like as a child, I mean like a few weeks ago. He was sexually assaulted by another man, and his way of dealing with it was to reenact it, but with a woman, because he said when he thinks about his sexual assault, he got aroused and he felt so bad. He wanted to kill himself, but he thinks now if a woman does it, he's able to deal with it. And I said, listen, I'm not going to do that to you. We're going to talk about it. Say, listen, we're going to talk. No, I'm not going to do that. So he said, I'm less of a man. I said, no, you're not. I said, the second you walked into this room, all I know that you are a man. You have this aura about you. Whoever did that to you did not take that away from you. Just, I said, you need to go to the police. Like, yeah, and I said, like, how was this guy able to do it to you? He said, I was drinking with someone that I thought was a friend, and then I woke up in bed, and this guy was on top, like, hurting me. And then I was bleeding afterwards. And he said, as a man, being as I was, I should have been able to fight him off, but I think I was drugged. And he said, I know how you women feel, and I feel like just not even a human anymore. I'm like a sack of meat. And then I told him, listen, you've got to go get help. Like, this man could have hurt you as well, especially doing that to you. And he goes, no one's ever going to know about this. This is going to stay in this room. And I'm not going to tell anyone. And I said, listen, if you ever need to talk about it, I'm here. Just come back and we can talk about it. But you can't keep this. I never saw him again after that. But I'm kind of hoping that, yeah, he's done something about it. But it made me realize men can't talk about it, especially sexual assault as an adult by another adult. Us women, we're going, like, I know for a fact that if it happened to me, I'm going to the law. I'm going to get this guy, prosecuted for the rest of my life. I'll be outing this guy. But to another man, especially one of those men that think they're alpha macho, no, he just felt ashamed and less of a human being. He couldn't tell anyone.
And it's actually quite common.
Oh, yeah.
This is happening more and more to adult men being drugged and raped.
Yeah. And this is how they're dealing with it. To go and, reenact it. Like, I couldn't think of anything more triggering.
Yeah, me either. Thank you for sharing that story. We're almost at the end of our time together, but what I want to know is what made you get out and how you found Jesus. Because there's light at the end of the tunnel for everyone, no matter where you are, what you've been through, what you've done, who you've done it to. There's forgiveness available, there's redemption, there's restoration, there's love. And can you share your story for us?
Yeah, it was during lockdown. Like, I was on a high from, not on a high, but I was before lockdown, booked out solid, everything. I won a couple of awards. It was like only a few months after I won my last award that, I was during lockdown, and I was on so much medication to get through my shifts. That's the thing. I was so many meds, you name it, I was on it just to get me through. And during lockdown, it's kind of myself weaning myself off them and then coming to the realization of what I've been doing and what was happening and thinking, hang on, like even going for a walk and seeing families and going, hang on, that's the life I wanted. Like, what am I doing? Like, where am I going to be? I'm going to be whipping men for the rest of my life. Like, I'm just, like, my cat had died within that month, and then my best friend died of an overdose. And I'm like, in 1 month, like, come on, like, what is happening? And then I'm about to lose my place on top of that. And it's just one thing after another, after another, after another. I have a family member out there that's telling people, don't help her, don't help her, don't help her. And then I just thought, this is it for me. I had a noose tied to my bed, and I put that, and I just pulled it as tight as I could. And then I thought, hang on, I don't even have the guts to do this. And then I went to the banister of the stairs, and I thought, okay, tied the noose. I thought, okay, this is it. I'm going to go be with my friend and my cat. So I stood there, and I just thought, okay, before I do this, I got down on my knees. I said, sorry, God. I know you hate me. I know everything that's happened in my life. I deserved this. This is what my life has come to. It's spiraling out of control. So as I was praying, I just said, God, forgive me. I'm sorry for everything that I've done. And all I could felt on my spirit was being comforted. And then I just felt like someone was hugging me. And then it wasn't hearing a voice, it was like feeling it. Someone going, it's okay, you're fine, I'm here. Like, thank goodness you're home. Like, don't give up. Just keep going, keep going. So then, as I was praying, I said, Lord, what do I do? I've ruined my life. I've got no future. I don't know. I could possibly be homeless tomorrow because I cannot make money during lockdown. And all I heard was, open the Bible. Open the Bible. And so I couldn't understand the Bible back when I read it, but okay. I opened the Bible and there it said Mark on there. I don't know why. I came to me to message my friend Mark and say, listen, I'm about to lose my house. I'm in a horrible situation. He goes, you can move in with me. That's fine. Relax.
Wow.
Don't cry. I've got a spare room. But then I thought, okay, the Bible's going to have some solutions for me in there. So as I kind of read it, and then I read that there were prostitutes in the Bible, a well-known prostitute, and God loved them.
In the bloodline of Jesus.
Yeah.
Come on.
It wasn't all about pure virgins and all of that, and women being ruined after they had sex before marriage. It was Jesus was embracing everyone. He's like, yeah, follow me and you'll get a new life. And then I did not know what tomorrow would bring. I did not know where I wanted to do with my life, and I was so scared. And I was coming off a lot of meds on top of that. And I just said, God, it's all in your hands. My life is in your hands. I'm an empty vessel. Now you've got to guide me, Lord. You've got to show me where to go, because I don't know what to do with my life now. So I left, didn't go back. After lockdown, I got messages on my phone and work saying, you've got to come back. There's a lot of calls for you. I went, no, I'm not doing it. I'm not going back. And then I got back in touch with my mum as well. So mum kind of helped me along the way. So I was walking past a church this time and I was listening to the sermon outside, and it was, you belong here. I was like, okay. I went back the next week, and then I said to them, first person I saw was the pastor, and she said, oh, you new here? I'm like, yeah. And then she said, what do you do for work? And I'm like, I can't tell you yet. But after I did tell her that I was a sex worker, and she's like, no. She hugged me and she said, no, you're one of us now. You're not a sex worker. You're a child of God. And I've been at that church ever since. It's been a few years now. I'm now serving in kids ministry. Like, they all know my story. I used to work in daycare before I was a sex worker. So the day that I heard a child say my name in the church, not the name Contessa Doll or anything else, Tessa. Hi, Tessa. I just thought that is the purest thing I've ever heard. Like, I have not heard my name being said like that in a long time. I thought, yeah, I want to be with these kids. I want to work with these kids again. So yeah, I've been there ever since, working in the Sunday school. And from there, it's from doing outreach to help. It's like God is saying to me, you can use your experience, because you were experienced in every area of the sex industry. You know what these girls are going through. You know how tough it is to leave and to start over from literally nothing, from making so much money to nothing. It's tough. Like, I didn't work for a year. Like, I had to slowly kind of get back into that mindset of just being a normal person again. But it's just the break. Looking back, it's the break that God was giving me, saying, listen, you were living in survival before. You were going to work and, not knowing what tomorrow was going to bring. And then God said, okay, now rest. And so now I'm studying in my final year at college. So, it's just in an industry I didn't think that I would ever work in, but I realized that this is where I want to be. I want to be helping people. I want to I know how to, kind of the tools that God's given me to help others. Like, as they said, God's strongest soldiers were trained in the enemy's camp.
Yes.
So,
I love this. So good.
So everything that's happened, even being outed in the media, is being turned around for God's glory and for helping God. And now I focused on helping these women. There are women that don't know how to get out of the industry, and are scared of starting over. But I was in my 40s starting over. That's scary enough as it is. Like, you're never too late to start over again. And that industry is not a safety net. I thought it was a safety net. I thought I can do this forever because no one's too old to it. There's always going to be a new market for women. Whether you're old or you're fat or you're skinny or you lose one arm, there's a market for it in that industry. So I realized that industry is like quicksand that'll always draw someone back.
Yeah.
But it's just telling them there's a way out. Like, I couldn't get out before. But as soon as I turned my life towards Jesus, my goodness, I've done so much in just a few years that I was never able to do while I was in that industry.
Yeah.
Like, I look back and I'm like, lockdown wasn't that long ago, but I seem to have done so much. And then I look at my resume and I'm like, whoa, okay, I really piled it on there.
Oh my gosh. There were some real moments in our time together that really pulled at my heartstring and evidently yours. Thank you for your vulnerability and those stories. There was so much in that, and I didn't realize that you were almost going to take your life, and I'm so sorry.
And it was not the first time in that industry either. It was a few occasions that I've done it and I researched it and everything, but it always something stopped me. And I did have a couple of nearly successful attempts that I ended up in hospital. Okay, but then it was just that one. That's from being in the industry, so many girls take their lives, so many girls and guys. I had a regular funeral dress and I thought this was how it was going to be for me. I'm going to live in this industry until I can't take it anymore, because I didn't have a way out. I honestly did not have a way out. I didn't have any photo ID. It's one thing I didn't mention. So I had photo ID for the past few years. So I was unable to get a job, move into a new place, anything. My ex-husband had destroyed all of that. So that's where I was going to be for the rest of my life.
It's just unbelievable. And I too ended up in hospital for attempting to take my own life as well. Like, this industry is so damaging. It's shown to be glorified, but the damage that's done.
I don't know any sex worker who was retired that says, oh, it's empowering. Oh, it's great. It's so empowering. And everyone is like, don't do it. No, don't do it. Don't do it. And I agree with them. Like, it needs to lose its empowerment title. My whole thing is, if it's empowering, you'll do it for free. Would you do that job for free?
Hell no.
Yeah. We were well compensated for that, and it still wasn't enough money for how much it took from us.
And that's so true. That's so true, because the devil comes to steal, kill, and destroy.
Yeah.
And that industry does all of those things. It steals everything from you. Everything.
Oh, yeah.
Including almost your life. And then we're the fortunate ones who have survived it. But it takes a lot of work and a lot of commitment and discipline to heal, a lot of surrender to be able to heal from the years of damage that is done in that industry. And, it used to be shameful and no one would admit to it. Now I see bumper stickers, this is my fans only, or OnlyFans, whatever.
OnlyFans, yeah.
This is my OnlyFans QR code. I'm like, it's on the back of your car, like, for the world to see. What is happening? What is happening?
Yeah, everyone's got an OnlyFans. It's like sex work. Like, when people tell me, what would you do one day if you become a mother and you have kids, saying that there's photos of you online, I'll be saying, there's photos of everyone's mum online now. There's probably, half your kids in your class have got parents with. It's going to become so mainstream and normal.
I'm speechless.
It's but when I was in that industry, I was getting help. I was seeing a psychologist once a week, and I was taking the medications. None of that helped. It was the second that I found God, that I started talking to God, that I started reading my Bible and worshiping and putting everything into His hands. I'm not on medication anymore. I'm not seeing a psychologist, and I'm living a normal, healthy life. Like, I'm living the life I didn't even think I was going to have. Like, I was told you'd never be able to survive without medication. You need to take all these antidepressants and everything else. And no, absolutely nothing. Maybe a Panadol once in a while, but that's about it. It's amazing how I can't, like when people say God doesn't exist, I'm like, how was it possible that all those years I was just living on psychologists and telling them, like even he, when I spoke to him recently, noticed the change.
Wow.
Mm.
I too was on medication for depression
Yeah.
and suicidal tendencies. And I think psychologists and counselors and therapists, there's a time and a place. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But Jesus goes into places where human hands cannot touch. He
Yeah.
restores in a way that humans just cannot do. And it is lasting.
Mm. Yes, it is.
It's not a momentary fix. It's a lasting impact and transformation that he has on our lives.
Yeah, it is. Like even being able to sleep again. I wasn't able to sleep for years. I was using medication for that. Now I'm able to sleep. It's just absolutely amazing how he's turned every small corner of my life around, even where I live. I was making so much money back then, but I'm living in a better place now, that more beautiful place. And I'm not even earning a quarter of the amount that I was making. Like I'm a struggling student. I'm working and studying and only getting like one day off a week. And that is only to do assignments. And I'm still able to live like comfortably.
And isn't that the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords? Like
Yeah.
that's just what he does for his kids, right?
Yeah, I'm still able to get those assignments done. I'm still able to work. Like I don't have a car and I'm traveling everywhere, public transport, and I'm able to do all these things. But back in the day, like I'd be working only a few days a week and I was struggling to get out of bed.
Yeah.
I was needing pills to get out of bed and pills to go to sleep and everything else.
Well, I thank God for your transformation. I thank God that he reached down to where you were in that moment. And that's just what he does. It doesn't matter where he finds you, even in your deepest, darkest moment, he will meet you right there. You're never too far gone.
No. I'm living proof that you're not too far gone.
Same.
Yeah.
I love you. I'm so grateful for this time together and for you sharing your story with us. And is there anything that you would like to leave our listeners with just quickly before we wrap up?
In any dark time, just call out to Jesus. That's all I did was just call out to Jesus at the darkest time. Doesn't matter who you are, where you are, what you've done in your life, just call out to Jesus.
So beautiful. The perfect way to end this time together. Thank you so much.
you.
I love you. God bless
Love you
you.
too.
Thank you for being with us. Follow Angela on Facebook and LinkedIn at Angela Bennett, on Instagram at AngieB_transformations, or visit angieb.com.au. And remember, your past does not define you, it refines you.